Hi, this is Richard Roop, and welcome to this month's Ultimate Training Webinar. The topic that we're going to cover tonight is finding private money to raise cash for deals. And on the line with me, I have a couple of our coaches. I have Coach Courtney. How are you doing, Courtney?
I'm doing great. I'm excited about this topic, and I think most of our students are as well.
And thank you for joining us. And we also have Coach Keith. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, he muted himself out. Keith, are you there?
Okay, I'm here. Sorry. Sorry.
Well,
yes,
thanks for joining us.
I am here. I did. It's magic. But yes, I am here, and I'm excited about it as well. So ready to dig in.
Well, obviously, you two guys are experts at raising private money, and of course, I've raised millions and millions and millions of private money. So what I want to talk about is, kind of what I do for raising private money, kind of give you a big picture, kind of give you some best strategies, and point you towards some additional resources that you can find online to become an expert at raising private money. And so we're going to have a good time here. So let's talk about what exactly we're going to cover. Okay, what you will learn tonight is how to design a winning game plan for raising private money, how to have lenders anxiously waiting to be in on your next deal, how a simple mindset change can get you more prospective lenders on board, how to negotiate and close more deals for all cash, and the best strategies for protecting your private lenders. Now, we know tons on how to set up a program, how to work your program, how to raise all the money you need for your deals. Okay, we know the best strategies. We've done several 3-day boot camps on raising private money, so obviously that's a lot of information that we have available. But tonight we only have. We're going to try and keep it to an hour or so, 45 minutes to an hour. We'll knock this out as quickly as possible and give you the best we can during that time frame. And you guys are supposed to keep me on track.
Easier said than done.
All right. All right. So also, in addition to covering those topics, we're going to I'll point you to some online resources for becoming a private money expert, how to line up done-for-you funding for your great deals. We're going to have some Q&A. We're going to offer at the end of the program, we'll give you access to a free audio program. This is a bonus that we mentioned in our invitations for you to join us. So all that will be covered. And the title of that audio program is Boosting Your Confidence with Private Money, and that was done with Coach Courtney. Right, Courtney?
It was.
So what are the main benefits people will get out of listening to that program?
It's a call that I did with some students when I had some serious mind issues, if you will, around raising private money, which I think is the problem for a large portion of our students. So they're going to learn how to permanently change their money mindset, and then they're going to specifically learn the exact step-by-step things that I did to take my business from zero private money to $2 million in less than 7 months. So I give them the step-by-step instructions.
I've known you for so long. I remember when raising private money was an inner game issue for you.
Absolutely. Yep. It's been a while.
We saw you. I remember when you made that breakthrough.
Yep, yeah, it's been a long time, but there's some good lessons in this call, and I think a lot of people will get a lot out of it. So those that stay till the end will get access to that call.
Well, everybody starts with some fear around private money, and then they gain some confidence around it by understanding how it works and that it's actually a great opportunity for the people that are involved. It's good for you. It's good for them. It's good for everybody involved. It's what you need as a real estate entrepreneur. No matter what type of deals that you're doing, funding is a big part of that. And every deal needs money, so there's all kinds of ways to fund deals. But we're going to talk about the basic concepts of raising more private money, let's talk about designing a winning game plan, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're going to cover what we call the 5 steps for success. Now, this formula applies to any aspect of your business, whether it's marketing, negotiating, deal structuring, selling, working on your inner game, systemizing your business. These are all areas that we support our members on. And, and by the way, we are going to have some Q&A. I kind of breezed past that. So in the, there's a, how do people type in questions? We're going to kind of batch questions. Some questions might be brought up by Courtney or Keith along the way that we see it if it makes sense, but then we'll do a kind of a cleanup Q&A at the end. How do people submit questions during the webinar?
Yeah, on the right-hand side of your screen, you should see a box, kind of like a vertical box. If you don't see it, there's a little arrow that you can click on to bring the control panel out. And you'll see down towards the bottom a question box. And you can just submit your question in there, and I'll answer them if I can while we go. And then, as Richard said, we'll take some of them at the end.
Okay, and we're also recording this, so we will go ahead and give you a link to the replay page at the end. So if you'd like to review it, because we're going to cover a ton of stuff. So the first thing, designing your winning game plan. Number one, this is our 5-step formula for success. Number one is to have a goal. So for example, let's say maybe your goal was to have 3 private lenders lined up within 30 days waiting for your next deal opportunity. Okay, so that's a pretty specific goal. A goal is a dream with a deadline. So we have a deadline, like, for example, 30 days, right? It's very specific, 3 private lenders,
yep.
And they're all lined up, ready to go, waiting for your next deal. So that's an example of a goal. So you can create any goal you want, and this formula works on all goals. Now this goal, you might even get a little bit more specific, and this is actually to expand your thinking, is you can have 3 brand new private lenders lined up. But it also could be a combination of existing lenders. So sometimes people need money on a deal, and they don't even think about the people that have actually funded their deals in the past. You know, for one reason or another, it's just kind of human nature. It's like they forget about them. Okay, and so we're going to talk about how not to forget about these folks, okay, because that's the best strategy. And sometimes you think your lender doesn't have any money to invest. They gave it all to you. In fact, they told you, I got 50 grand to invest, you used it, and it's still in place, so, hey, they don't have any more money, so I'll go to somebody else. But once someone understands how wonderful this program is compared to other ways they can make money on their money, how relatively safe this is compared to other types of investment opportunities, that there's no uncertainty. They know exactly what they get, when they get it. It's all spelled out for them, and people like the terms that we can offer on our deals. We make so much money on good deals that we can pay a high rate of return to private investors and still make a lot of money. And so the more they understand that, the better. But think about your existing lenders. In fact, I just picked up the phone last week, and I called one of my existing investors, and I was working together some amortization schedules for him to calculate the interest that I paid him last year. And so I get him on the phone, and I asked him a few questions about his existing notes, and then I asked, well, do you have any other money that's not working for you that you'd like to place? And he said, well, I might have 15 or 20. And I said, well, okay. Well, and then so we talked about that a little bit, and I had built some equity on the notes that he had already placed, because I was paying down the principal, and some properties appreciated in value over the years. And I said, well, tell you what, I can take your 20 and I can just add it to your existing notes and increase the payments. And so we did the note modification on existing notes, and within a couple of days I had an extra 20 grand in my pocket. Just slapping my lips. Okay. Now, so think about your existing lenders as well as when you're creating a goal like this, as well as new, in case you weren't thinking about it. Then when you have a goal, you want to look at it on a regular basis. You should have something in your iPhone, your smartphone, a 3x5 card, something posted to your wall. Review your important goal daily. If it's important to you, read it daily, and that will activate, that will turn on your reticular activating system, and you'll start seeing opportunities related to achieving that goal. In fact, the first thing you do is decide what you want, and forget about how you're going to do it, because as soon as you decide what you want, 3 private lenders within 30 days, now you're going to start seeing the opportunities to take action, or opportunities that might be right in your face that you didn't see before because it wasn't a goal. So review your goal. And the next step is to make a plan. So what on your plan, you want to lay out your action items, and you want to prioritize the steps. So I'm going to point you to some resources that will step by step lay out the action plan for raising private money. In fact, I don't have, towards the end, I'll actually show you all the resources. Now, this Ultimate Training webinar is for Inner Circle members and above. Every month they get an Ultimate Training webinar. Today we have invited some guests on the call as well. So all of the resources that I'm going to show you are in the membership library, so you can access those. And just today I'll show you what I did for you, put it all together, and so you can tap into it really easily. And if you're not an active Inner Circle member or above with richardgroup.com, then I'll show you how you can access those as well. All of the additional material. In fact, it's, well, I'm not even going to say how much it is. I mean, it's how much stuff I've put together in one package. But it's all my best stuff that we've created that will help you go beyond what we're going to do tonight. So make your plan. Next is to plan your work. Okay, so you have a goal, you make your plan, you kind of lay out your plan, then you go ahead and plan your work. What that means is to block out tasks into your weekly schedule and set milestones on your calendar. And so you're planning your work, and then you want to commit to your what we call your time blocking. Keith, do you want to explain just real briefly what time blocking is?
Sure, I'd be glad to. What time blocking is you are going to, first of all, think on the weekend, which means you're going to plan your week out with certain little blocks of time, usually 15 to 30 minutes, of a specific task in a certain day. So, for example, maybe I want to try to find some private lenders, and I'm putting together my marketing campaign. So from Monday, from 9 to 9:30, I'm doing research on the internet for these lenders, or maybe I'm calling certain lenders that I've already contacted, or I'm working on putting together my plan. So that time block is a 15 to 30 minute time block of totally focused time where no distractions in there. When I say totally focused, cut off, nobody is bothering you, you let certain people know you're not to be bothered, and you also already know what you are going to do by the time you get into that time block. So you're not wasting 5 or 10 minutes thinking about, well, I know I'm going to do marketing, but what am I going to do in relation to that? You already have that all preset. And that totally focused time is exactly just on that specific topic. And then you want to do 60 to 65% of your day. That's about as much as you want to schedule. Otherwise, you're just asking yourself for trouble. But that is your basic time block right there.
It's basically an appointment with yourself, okay, to work on a specific item in your plan that you can complete, okay? And just like if you had an important appointment with a private lender to explain your program, right? You had an appointment to explain your program. You wouldn't blow that off, would you? Well,
Not
you don't
at all.
blow off your time blocking at all. So it's a committed time to knock out that piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to eat this elephant one bite at a time, and it's just consistent, committed action. Okay.
Yep.
Hey, Richard. Keith and I did a webinar in October all about time blocking, and we showed a detailed, it was like an hour-long webinar. We showed exactly how you take a project, break it down into bite-sized pieces, and what it looks like to time block. And that is on the member site.
Okay, great. Well, why don't you gather that information for me, and I'll put that out to the members, let them know exactly where they can get it, okay?
Okay.
You know, we'll follow up after the webinar on that. That's great. All right. Step number 4 is to work your plan. I mean, of course, we could go off on 2 hours on just about every topic we cover tonight. So so if there's anything like that, you guys, that you remember, just shoot me an email and say, hey, this would be a good supplement to the webinar, and we'll get the word out. Work your plan. Okay, so now you set a goal, you've made a plan, you've planned your work. Now you work your plan. Don't think during the week. This is some advice my coach told me one time, is if you have everything laid out, the week is just about executing what's already in your schedule. In fact, that's exactly how I operate today. I operate directly off my schedule, and if it's not in my schedule, it's not going to get done. And if it's in my schedule, it gets done, and if for some reason I get distracted, then I can take that item and stick it out to tomorrow or reschedule it. But if it's in my schedule, it's going to get done. So don't think during the week, just execute. Take simple, consistent action. Step number 5 is get feedback and adjust. You want to track your progress on how you're doing. You want to expand on what's working, and then you want to drop what doesn't. And so these 5 steps for success apply to anything that you want to accomplish. So now we're going to apply it towards raising private money. Okay? So the first step is you need to know your program. And in the Inner Circle Library, we have some resources on how to create your program. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit. For example, you need to know what interest rates you're going to offer, because I quiz investors all the time. Our students, our clients, they say, hey, I don't have enough private money. I said, okay, what are you doing for private money? And I'll tell you what, why don't you just explain to me your program, just as if I was a prospect. And sometimes they're kind of stumped because they don't even know clearly in their mind what their program is. So I've created some tools to help you create your program. And what it is some decisions that you make about what you're offering private lenders with your opportunity. So number 1, you got to know what kind of rates you're going to offer. So you could negotiate rates, but that's kind of advanced. What's the lowest rate you'll take, or try and find out if they're going to take 3 or 4 or 5% interest. But would you be happy with 6, 7? My program, I offer 8% on a first, 10% on a second. That's my program. And you don't have to offer those same type of rates if you have people that are happy with 6 or 7%, and these days that's a very good return.
Absolutely.
On a secured investment, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you can definitely go out and get those, and I'm sure you guys I've gotten those rates. I've gotten those rates, and how do you get those rates?
Asking for them. Yep.
Now, in the beginning, if you're putting together your program and you're not experienced, I would let people know what your rates are. Okay, so decide. Now, I offer 8% on a first mortgage, and I also give people the opportunity, if there's enough equity in a deal, I will let them be in a junior position, and I'll give them an incentive for doing so, and I'll give them 10%. And these small junior positions might even accrue interest without monthly payments. So what are your interest rates? Next, what is your maximum loan to value? This is what protects your private investor. Now, by the way, the definition of a private lender is really an individual, okay, or investor that is looking to get their money working for them. They're not necessarily in the business of loaning money out, but they might be. If they're very sophisticated, we call those hard money lenders or collateral lenders, okay? And they actually have their own program, okay? So you have to, find out what their program is. But private individuals, private investors, they're going to buy into your program. You decide what your rates are going to be, and you decide what is your maximum loan to value. Now, the protection that you're going to offer your investors is a cushion of equity in the property. So number one, they're going to loan you money, and you're going to sign a promissory note, and that's a promise to pay back the money. But that note is always going to be secured by a piece of real estate. So we're talking about real estate notes. We're not talking about unsecured debt, borrowing from friends and family and not have it secured. We're talking about I recommend you use your friends and family because this is a great program for friends and family, but you always want to secure their investment, their money, okay? And it protects you because you have equity to back up paying that lender back, okay? And then you want a cushion of equity for protection. So remember when the banks were loaning 100% on the dollar,
right, or 110
house, or 110, right? And the mess that they got into, they didn't have any equity protection, and so now they're gearing towards, hey, we want 20% down. Okay, well now they have a 20% equity cushion. They'll loan 80% of the value of the property, and there will be a 20% cushion in case they had to take the property back, fix it up, sell it, and try and get their money back. Okay, now that's still kind of advanced. Only have a 20% cushion of equity, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we're talking about protecting your investors. But you decide what's the most that you would borrow on one of your properties. 70 cents, 70% of the value, 75, 80. I mean, 80 would be the max, I think. Okay, maybe 65. It's whatever you're comfortable with. Okay. Payments. Are you going to offer principal and interest payments, or are you only going to offer interest payments? And are you going to allow any of the notes to accrue interest? So that's part of designing and knowing your program. Normally, you're going to offer interest-only monthly payments. That's typical. Now, it depends on how you're going to use the money. If you're going to use it to buy a rehab, all cash, real cheap, fix it up, and flip it and resell it and pay them off within 6 months to a year, you could actually have their money accrue without any payments, okay? But if you're going to use it like we do all the time, I think we got 5 deals accepted last week, Courtney. I don't have all the details, but I'm working on funding 5 deals for our joint venture partners where we provide done-for-you private money. And but what we're doing is we're targeting free and clear houses, and we're bringing in a small private money first, and then we're having the seller take back a large second. So the small private money first will fund our deals, put some cash in our pocket, give the down payment to the seller. It'll provide all the money we need for the deal, plus an extra 10, 20, 25 grand in our pocket from this small private money first. But instead of 6 months to 12 months, we actually want that money going out 3 to 5 years, because we want to have the opportunity. We're buying with terms and we sell with terms, and so it's nice to have the money go longer than a short period of time. If you're going to flip it, that's a different thing. So if it's going 3 to 5 years with the private money on the first, then we're probably going to want to make interest-only payments. We don't have to, but we have income from these properties. We're going to put a tenant in there, or a tenant buyer, or a contract buyer. So we're going to have income coming in from the property if we're going to hold it, and that's going to pay the interest-only payment on the note. Now, if we wanted to save some money on interest, we could do principal and interest. It would just be less cash flow for us. All right. Then the terms offered. So the other thing about your program is the length of time. My program, if I tell people my program is 5 years. Do you have any money that you would like to get a high rate of return on, well secured, but have it tied up, and have an opportunity to get that return for up to 5 years. Okay, my program is 5 years. If they balk at that, I say, well, I can look for an opportunity which I can get you in for less time, or I actually say, but if sometimes I do have opportunities to go longer than 5 years.
Right.
So it's kind of that mental mindset, because if they take your money, give it to you, have it well secured up by a piece of real estate that has equity to protect it, and they're getting a high rate of return, for example, 8%, these folks, without very many other options that could be as good as that, once they have that money out there at that type of return, they don't want that money back. They like that return, so they actually prefer to have a longer term plan sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, so number one, know your program. So I'm going to point you to some resources to help you develop your program. Number two is to create an elevator speech, and I'm going to point you to resources on that as well. And this is a conversation starter. So this is like a little mini script that you kind of practice and refine, so that when you're talking to somebody, if you went to a networking meeting or a business mixer or a seminar or any type of place where there's people, where you meet people, it's like, hey, what do you do, right? And you get to know these people, and it's like, what's going to come out of your mouth that would create curiosity in them to say, oh, really, how do you do that? So
Exactly.
I always tell people, that I buy and sell houses, and we start talking about, the real estate market. Oh, have you ever done any real estate investing? We talk about lending. Yeah, lending's, the banks are going crazy. Well, I don't deal with banks. I use private investors to fund all my deals. In fact, what I do is I never deal with banks. All my deals, I have money partners, and they're private individuals, and if they have money sitting around in a savings account or retirement account, and if they're not getting a good rate of return, I can get them like 8 to 10% on their money, well secured on the properties that I buy. And since I make so much money on each deal, I can pay those high rates of return. Oh, really? How do you do that?
That definitely piques their interest. Yes.
So I got some resources on helping you develop your elevator speech. Create your presentation. I have resources on that. But basically, your presentation is going to explain how your opportunity works. It's going to explain the terms that we talked about in knowing your program. It's going to talk about, how do I know I'll get paid, and how am I protected, and how does it work, and basically it's going to answer frequently asked questions, and it's going to communicate the benefits of your program to them. And you want to find out what's important to them about, their investing, and if someone's looking for short-term, then great, you're going to put them in the short-term deals. If they're looking for long-term, great. If they're looking for income or growth, that might determine what you put them into. But never prejudge, because someone will say they only want to do short-term lending and they only got 20 grand, and then you have a deal where you're looking for a longer term and 50 grand, and you don't call them because of what they told you. Don't prejudge. We'll talk more about that. Your presentation also tells them what the next step is. So basically, when you present and explain your opportunity, and let's talk a little bit about the SEC, okay? A lot of people are concerned about the Securities and Exchange Commissions because real estate notes are secured by real estate, so they're considered securities, okay? So the SEC doesn't want you advertising and offering investments to people you don't know, okay? And I don't want you to advertise or offer investments to people you don't know. I have some resource that I'll point you to where we talk about the best practices for marketing to private investors to keep you out of trouble and to get great results, okay? But the main thing is you're not going to advertise a deal that you need funding, okay, to people you don't know. If you're going to advertise at all, you're going to advertise information, okay? You're going to get them to respond to learn some information. Once they respond, you're still not going to offer an opportunity. You're going to offer an opportunity to learn more about how your program works. You want to present and explain how your program works. And even at that point, you're not going to offer them an opportunity. What you're going to do is you're going to find out, okay, do you have any other questions? Do you think this would work for you? Do you have some money that you have in mind that you might put to work like this? and then kind of find out what is the next step for them. You know, they might have some investments they have to liquidate. They might be getting an inheritance. They might be selling something. They might have money now that's not working. Always, if they tell me about their investments, I want to, you know, learn how they're doing and stuff like that, and where it's at. But if they're interested, I will ask them basically, okay, would you like me to give you a call when I have a deal, and then when I have an actual deal, I can explain further how it works, okay? And then on that deal, you could decide, when you have the numbers specifically, you can decide if you want in or out, you know, if you're interested or not.
You know, Richard, an SEC attorney once told me that one of the best things you can do is to track your appointments with people. And we'd mentioned before the time blocking. And one of the things that over the years the government has considered to be like something you can use in your tax returns and so forth is a day timer or some sort of time management system where you can prove who you were with and when you were there. And one of the things that the SEC is concerned about is that you're not just blanketly soliciting strangers. You have to talk to people that you already have a relationship with. But there's no, of course, definition for having a relationship with somebody. So what the SEC attorney told me was just keep track of, I mean, you don't meet somebody the first time and ask them if they want to give you money, but you keep track of your conversations with the people. So like you used the example of meeting somebody at an event, a BNI meeting or a chamber meeting or something like that. And then if you invite them to lunch to share the opportunity with them more, you would make a note in your day timer or in your Outlook or whatever system you happen to use to track that those communications have happened. And then that way you can kind of prove that you have a relationship with this person. But people put so much fear around the SEC requirements that it stops them from doing things, and it really doesn't need to. You just need to follow the rules.
Right, and there's, in fact, that's a good best practice, and I want to expand on that. But if you're making your private lending opportunity available to people you have a relationship with, then you don't fall under these rules, okay? If they ever said, yeah, you do fall in the rules because you're doing so many deals a year or something like that, then it's nice if you do exactly that, okay? So here's what I would suggest. I know from experience that every private lender is going to have a hard copy file in my office. Okay, that's where we have all the hard copy documents and stuff for the file. Now, a prospective lender could have an electronic file on your computer. But eventually, once they're kind of active lead, then you're going to go ahead and create a hard copy file folder where you can have all your hard copy stuff, and you can have a contact sheet in that folder. So whenever you're talking to them, you pull out their folder and you make notes on your contacts. When you met, you know, what you talk about, and if you have a list of kind of a log of your contacts, that is great. It's good for you, and it's good for, you know, anybody who wants to know later. Okay, and it shows that you've actually developed this relationship. Now, of course, you can have electronic log as well. Okay, so that's a great idea actually. So. Of course, if you send emails, you'll have records of that. But if you can organize, in fact, what you want to do, we're going to talk about this. You want to organize your private lenders and your private lender leads. And so one of the ways we're going to communicate with them is by email. And so if you set up your email program so you can create like a little folder for private investors and some subfolders for each person, and just get organized and have all those communications, you know, where you can find them. Now, that's particularly important if you have a new deal, right? If you haven't built up and organized some type of email list that you can, you know, pull up or whatever, you can just go into your email boxes and find the last email that you sent them, right? And just, you know, pull it up. Now you have their email address, and you could write them a new note and send them the information on your new deal. Now, this is, for example, you know, someone who's ready, lined up, waiting for a deal, or an active investor. And, of course, you can do the same as far as building the relationship, you know, as far as getting them more information until they are ready. So we're going to talk a little bit more about organizing your leads. So you know your program, create your elevator speech, create your presentation. Then you want to flap your lips to everybody you know. Okay? What you want to do is you want to get the word out. Okay? Nobody is going to help fund any of your deals and take advantage of your opportunity if they don't know about your opportunity. Okay? So you want to flap your lips to everybody you know. Don't prejudge, okay? Because there's nothing, you have nothing to lose, which explaining how you help buyers, how you help sellers, how you help private investors. Because if it's not for them, it might be for someone they know, okay? So you'll generate referrals. So flap your lips to everybody you know. You're not being pushy. You're actually doing them a service. That's part of the inner game, isn't it, Courtney?
Absolutely. And what you just covered is the number one mistake everyone makes is prejudging who has money and who doesn't. And so they'll say, I hear this 1,000 times a week from students. It's, well, I don't know anyone that has any money. And it is so wrong. It's the number one mistake that people make. And it's just simply a mind shift of the fact that you're offering an opportunity to the people that you care about and the people that you're close to, rather than begging people for money. If you can make that mind shift in your head, it's the difference between night and day. For me, it was the difference between zero in private money to a couple of $1 million. So, I mean, it's huge. It's a huge mindset change.
Well, you know, I have a slide here on that mental shift here. But let's talk about it now, since you brought it up. There's another inner game problem that investors have, is the investors that have some experience, maybe some nagging experience. Maybe they used private investors in the past and they got them into unsafe deals, or they got them into deals where something went wrong. And for some reason, they didn't keep all of their promises, which is the number one rule: keep all your promises. And we'll talk about how to do that. But if you had a bad experience where, you know, you didn't keep your promise to someone, then you might be gun shy about asking the next person. Okay.
Sure.
So the key there is building that confidence and operating in a way where people, you know, it'd be very, very difficult for anybody to get hurt when you put them into a deal if you follow the steps that we're talking about tonight, okay? And we're going to get into that. So after you flap your lips to everyone you know, the next step is to get to know more people. Okay?
So you can flap your lips to everyone you know.
So Keith, has any of your coaching clients ever told me, I don't know anybody?
Let me see. You want me to get my list out?
So,
you know,
well,
absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
You know, I mean, to me, the easiest way for private money is marry into a rich family, but not many people can do that. But yeah, I mean, you know, you don't know any people, and then I start helping them list who they actually know, whether they're relatives, friends, even acquaintances, because then they start realizing they actually know more people than who they really realize. Absolutely.
And they might even give you the whole thing, you know, everybody I know doesn't have any money, okay? Well, then go get you're hanging out with the wrong people.
Exactly.
Go get to know more people. Socialize, right? Network, all right? Meet, okay? Are you an introvert or an extrovert? Do you like to hang out with people, or you like to be by yourself, okay? I'm actually an introvert, right? But I'll go to a networking meeting. I like going to meetings. I like going to events. I guess I'm not as introverted as I think I used to be more introverted. But get out, you know. I went to a football game, okay? We watched Colorado State versus Air Force, right? We went tailgating. And I got leads from just talking about what do you do, right? Mm-hmm. And so get out there, socialize, and get to know more people. And there's other ways you can get to know people. In fact, today you can do it with social media, okay? That's one way to start getting to know people. There's a lot of things we can go off on how to create your own blog and talk about private money and talk about real estate. There's a lot of things we can get into, but we're going to keep it to the basics here. Next is to know the next step throughout the process. So when you know your program and you put together your elevator speech and you put together your presentation, you're flapping your lips and you get to know more people, when you're talking to anybody, kind of know what the next step would be for them. We call it the approach, the presentation, and close. So in private money, your approach is just talking about your real estate business, asking them what they do, asking them about their investing, and then you have your little elevator speech that gets them asking you questions. Okay. Then the next step is actually to do a presentation. Well, if you're interested, I can send you some information. In fact, we should have some lunch. Let's go out for coffee, right? And then you explain your program. Or let's meet at my office and I'll lay it out and I'll show you exactly how it works. So that's your presentation. Next is your close for interest. So in this case, remember, we're not closing for a deal. We're closing for interest, okay? Really, does this sound like something that might work for you? Do you have some money that you'd like to put to work, right? So you're closing for interest. And then after they say, yeah, I'm interested, and they say, okay, I'll give you a call when I have an opportunity, and I'll see if I can get you started, right? And then later, when you have an opportunity, you can contact them and explain the new opportunity you have. Hey, I just got a house under contract. In fact, I just got a house under contract. I got a house that's worth $115. I just got it under contract for $56 cash. Right? So now I need to start flapping my lips and to fund that deal. All right. And then the next step is to build the relationship. Okay? So the whole time, this whole thing is about building relationships. Now, we at richardgroup.com, with our joint venture partner program and all of our support material and training and tools and stuff that we create for real estate investors on showing them how to make more money in real estate, how to create more cash now, cash flow, cash later, we focus in on targeting houses with lots of equity. And we focus in on asking the seller to carry back a note on the property. And when we do that, we can actually pay the seller more for the property, which is good for them. And when we're asking a seller to carry back a note, they have to like and trust you. So when we're dealing with sellers in our business, a lot of the time we're building the relationship with the seller, okay? It's the same thing with your private lenders. You want to build that relationship. In fact, it's a whole different level. These people are going to make you millions of dollars over the years.
Yep.
Okay? This is the best clientele you have to deal with. Our clientele are our buyers, our sellers, and our private investors. That's basically our main clientele. Your private investors are gold. You want to protect them. You want to take care of them. You want to be interested in them. You want to know what's important to them. You want to do whatever, and then you want to build that relationship and become friends, okay? And in fact, you should be using your friends as private investors. All right. And family. All right. Next, organize your leads. Organize all of your leads and your active investors. And I suggest that you don't have to get complicated. It's just like, where can I find contact information on all of my prospective lenders that haven't been involved yet, and the ones I have to kind of nurture and develop the relationship and build and get them ready. And then my active investors, how can I support, how can I build that relationship and stay in touch with them? So you want to organize your leads and your investors so you can communicate with them, okay? Then what you want to do is you want to contact them on each deal. So I think building an email relationship is good because you can easily go into, like I said, if they're organized, you can find that last email you sent them, and you can just pull it up, you have their address, and you send them information on the next deal, okay? So actually, you know what, this is a new topic. How to get lenders waiting in line for your next deal. All right, so these are the steps. Organize your leads, all right, and your active investors. Then contact all of them on each deal. So I'm supposing that these leads, that are waiting for deals, that they've already understand how it works. They say, yeah, let me know when you have a deal. Now, when you have a deal, contact all of them, okay? Let everybody. Now, even if the deal is funded.
Exactly.
So we're going to contact them by phone, mail, whether it's funded or not. So I actually have a lender waiting for me to do a deal, and I just got this contract to buy this house all cash, so now I have to contact him, right? I can contact him, say, hey, are you still ready to go, right? Here's the deal, here's the details, here's your return, here's how long the money is out for, here's your rate, your interest rate, here are the terms, here's what the property's worth, all of that, okay? I'll just lay out the entire deal for them, all right, and then ask them if they want to be my money partner on it, and or my lender, and if he says yes, I should still take that information that I put together for him, and I should send it to everybody. Okay, right. I should send out an email, maybe pick up a few the phone with a few folks, and what's going to happen is people will respond to your email, and they'll say, yeah, I might be interested in that, and then you immediately write them back and say, you know what, it's too late. I have someone lined up, but in case that falls through, would you be interested in this deal? Let me get you the information on it, right? And get a backup lender, right? But hey, I already got someone lined up. So if it's already funded, verify how much that they have to invest. So you might have said, I need $75,000 on this deal, and they said, yeah, I'm interested. So if it's already funded, find out, okay, so you had the 75 lined up for this deal. Is that how much you're looking to place, or is there other you want in on other deals? Okay, find out how much they have, and or they might tell you, you know what, I only got 50, and so is that enough for this deal? No, not really, but I'll look for something on that.
Well, and
it's
great social proof when you have somebody call you or email you and say, hey, I want in on this deal, this looks great, and then you're able to say, oh, I'm sorry, that's already been funded, particularly when it's a short time period, because then they're like, oh, wow, okay, so others are doing this, so it's kind of like a reinforcement in their mind that this is a good thing.
That's why you want to contact everybody every time you do a deal.
Absolutely.
Okay, so they might not even respond, but they see that you're doing deals, right? So that's some more social proof.
Right.
Okay.
And another thing that because of that, and when they call back up and says, hey, I want in on this, and you say you've already funded it, that also plants a seed in their mind for the next deal. They need to act as quickly as possible if they want to get in on that deal.
Right.
That's right, and that's exactly what we're talking about, how to get lenders waiting in line for your next deal.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, do you need a deal in order to contact all your private lenders about a deal? No. Okay. So there's a couple things here. Number one, people don't work their private lender program because they don't have any private money, or they don't have a deal. And then they don't go out and make offers on deals because they don't have private money.
Right.
It's a vicious circle. So first of all, so I've talked, I talk to sellers every day. Today we did a presentation to a seller with one of my JV partners, and so now on that deal, if the seller accepts it, if it's small money down, it's going to be 25 grand. If it's the higher down payment, it's going to be 60 grand. So I need 25 to 60 grand on this deal if she accepts it. So we presented the offer, we sent her the information, and we're going to have a follow-up call. She's going to talk to her husband. Okay? So I know if this is accepted, I need 25 to 60 grand. So what stops me right now to contact all my private investors and say, hey, I'm working on a deal. I'm hoping to have it under contract here within the next week, and if it goes through, I'm going to need between 25 and 60 grand, depending on which offer the seller decides on. Okay? Would you like me to give you a call with those details if I get it under contract?
Right, and that's how you get them in line waiting and saying, yes, absolutely, I want to know about it.
what if you emailed all your private investor leads each time you made an offer?
It's a great way to do it. I mean, because then you're going to make more confident offers, and then you're continuing, like you said, for those that aren't doing a lot of deals or haven't done any, it's a way to stay in touch with and communicate with these potential private lenders. I mean, as long as you're using the right wording, like I'm working on a deal, and you're not lying, you are.
Right. And yeah, and that's important. Everything that you communicate should be, true. Okay, so you don't want to ever, stretch the truth or anything like that. So word everything so that it is true. So I think you want to be transparent. You don't want to hide anything. I actually explain, I'll go into deep details on a deal if the lender wants that information. A lot of times they don't care, right? It's just like how much money am I going to make, and how am I protected? So, so on that, I was going to say something on that, but let's go back to here. So it'll come to me. If already funded, verify how much that they have and the terms that they want. So what that does is it forwards the process of if the people were not ready to deal, they might say, you know what, I am kind of interested, but I still have some questions. Oh, really? Let's go out and have some coffee, right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So if it's already funded, verify how much they have, the terms they want, and when their funds would be available, okay? And you want to also know where their money is coming from, okay? Do they need to be, does their money need to be pre-set up? For example, one of the best, I use a lot of money with people with equity trust company, okay? There's third-party custodians that if you have a self-directed, they can set up a self-directed IRA, and you can invest in real estate, and you can invest in real estate notes. And one of the top people I've been working with for many, many years is Equity Trust Company, and it's www.trustetc.com. So if I have someone who says, yeah, my money's in a retirement account, I'll say, well, tell you what you need to do is you need to do a roll. If you're going to use it, you'll have to have it set up in an account with a third-party administrator, a custodian. And what I can do, I just send them to Equity Trust Company. I said, go ahead and go online and check. Go ahead and read. There's a lot of information. Let them do the selling for you as far as investing in real estate or real estate notes using an IRA. Has all the information online. So I'll help them answer their questions. Then I'll just send them to the website, and I'll also say give them a call. They'll be happy to explain things for you. And if they have money in an IRA where they can't do real estate notes, then they can do a rollover, and there's no penalty for transferring it over to another account. In fact, I just had $52,000 transferred for one of my new investors to fund two of my deals. It took a while to get Smith Barney transferring the money over to Equity Trust, and so that takes time. So if people are interested, get them ready, get them set up. If they do that money rolled over, they can still buy stocks, they can buy mutual funds, they can be in a money market fund, they can have it in there, earning some interest or whatever, and waiting for your deal. But it's got to be in the account for them to do what's called a direction of investment form. You can go to the website and get their direction of investment form. In fact, I recommend it. In fact, I might put the link up somewhere. But you can easily find it on their forms page. And look for the direction of investment form for a promissory note and read it. Get familiar with it. In fact, what I do is they're not familiar with it, so I get familiar with it, and I actually fill that form out for them. Okay? I put the details of the deal. When we have a deal and it's coming from their IRA, I'll go ahead and put all their information there for them, and including my bank wiring instructions or my title company or wherever the money's going to, the details on the note. I'll fill it out for them. All they have to do is put in their account number if they haven't given it to me and sign each page when they send it in. And it's very easy. It's not complicated. I guess a lot of the reason why people have fears, they think it's complicated because they've never done it. Okay? And Keith, I think you would agree. one way to build your confidence is kind of practice off the field. And one of the ways you can do that is get familiar with some of the tools. And one of those tools that you will be using is a direction of investment form from some type of self-directed IRA company. So is that, you would agree, Keith?
Absolutely.
Kind of
I mean, that's what I always encourage, clients to do, whether it's filling out a contract, that they might have a deal coming up, or even just practicing talking to sellers. I always encourage people to practice off the field because that does build your confidence when you know what's coming up ahead of time.
Now, we can do this with our private. Once you put together, your presentation, then they can practice that with someone they know, right? They can build some confidence by going over it with themselves, but then actually presenting it to someone they know, and kind of practice it, and have someone ask you questions, right? Yeah, that's one way to build your confidence. So you want to get your lenders prepared. Have you explained how your program works? So when we're doing this other stuff that we're talking about, organizing your lead, contacting them, like I said, some people will come up and they're actually not ready to do a deal. They actually need more information. So get them lined up, get them prepared. Get testimonials. I just recently had one of my private investors was at the airport, okay, and he was talking to a guy at the airport. And so he calls me and gives me this guy's name. He says, I told him about your program, and he's very interested. And so then I get in touch with him, and now it's kind of long distance, and so I think he's in California or something. And so now we're kind of going back and forth, and I'm getting them familiar with the program. I'm explaining things, and now I'm going to give them some examples and that type of thing. And then he said one of the things he asked for is, some recommendations and some referrals. He says, can you give me a referral besides this other guy he already met? Because he knows he's a referral, right? So when I talked to my investor last week, right, when I was following up with him, I said, hey, George, I have this new guy. He's interested in my program. He's interested in talking to some of my investors. He met one of my investors. Could I give him your phone number? Could you talk to him? He said, yeah, sure, I'd love to do that. See, a lot of people have fear about asking people to do that. But
right.
how do you get it done? You ask. All right, what's the worst case, right? I was also buying a house from a seller, and they asked for referrals of people I've done business with. And by the way, one of my best sources for private lenders are sellers who I bought their house and then borrowed money from them, or bought the house, paid them off, and then borrowed money from them. So sellers are a great source for private money because you built that relationship. And you also sometimes find, I always bring up remember, flap your lips to everybody you know. So
right.
that includes buyers and sellers. Now, so I get a lot. And then so he asked for if he could talk to, we were about to sign the contract. He says, is there anybody I can talk to? And so I called my assistant, and they said, can you give me the number for so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so? We got on the phone, and everybody was happy to talk to him, So I feel, personally, I feel a little comfortable asking people to do that. But maybe you can line them up in advance. So, in fact, that's what I'm thinking about doing is just, following up with all my investors and say, hey, every once in a while people want to talk to my existing investors. Can I give them your name and number? Would you be interested in talking with them? And 90% of the time they'll say yes. Okay, and they'll be happy. All right. So get testimonials, get referrals, and contact leads and active investors at least, I would say, quarterly, some way. Set up a system to contact them, on a regular basis. It might be sending them a gift, sending them an article, sending them a company newsletter, a real estate newsletter that you put together for buyers, sellers, private investors, sending them postcards, do something to stay in contact. Another thing would be actually sending quarterly statements. we found that that's very effective. Even, you know, kind of send them a quarterly statement saying, you know, here's how much money you made.
Right. Oh, it's
And
extremely powerful.
Do you know anybody who's done that, Courtney?
I
'Cause
do
I have
quarterly.
not yet.
I do quarterly statements with my private lenders every quarter, and about every 2 quarters now. I used to do it every quarter, but now I do it about every other time. I send them a gift with their statement, and it's very powerful when they get that statement and they see how much they're making, particularly because they've usually just gotten their CD statement or something along those lines right around the same time, which usually has a negative number next to it or an extremely small number. So it's very, very powerful for them to get quarterly statements.
Right, right. And, you know, I do have some notes that, you know, they're on properties with sufficient equity. They're smaller notes, so I just have their notes accrue, right? And so we're not really in contact. I'm not sending them checks every month. So, you know, sending them a statement showing how their note has grown in value is a very good practice, and it will prompt them to pick up the phone, especially if you suggest it in a little personal note. You pick up the phone and say, hey, you know, my daughter's got an IRA, or, you know, my wife has this money, or I have this money, or I'm selling this property, you know. So
Yep.
there you go.
We change
All
the
right.
marketing message at the bottom of every quarter at the bottom of our invoices, and you know, it'll say something simple like, if you have a friend or family member who's interested in earning 8% interest on their money, send them our way, or, you know, something like that. So we change the call to action in the marketing message on every quarterly statement.
Another way to stay in touch is to build a buyer's list, okay, and then contact your buyer's list every time you have a new property available for sale, okay, and add them to your buyer's list. And that would get you referrals for buyers, but it also demonstrates that you're actively doing deals, and remind them, hey, you know, this has been good. Maybe I should do some more, see what Richard's up to, right? All right. So we started talking about the inner game, so we'll kind of breeze through this, but your inner game, your mental mindset on how you think about private money is 80% of your success. Or failure. Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
And we have resources in the library on the inner game, some great resources, by the way. And we deal, as coaches, we deal with our joint venture partners and our coaching clients, you know, helping people overcome issues that we can identify as coaches. Hey, you know what? That's not a very good habit, attitude, belief, or expectation. You know, so your habits, attitudes, beliefs, and expectations are a filter to your potential. Okay, and I'm thinking about doing an advanced program, actually working on people's very strategically and very powerfully help just focus in on having a small group of investors and working on their inner game, working on their limiting beliefs, okay, and their limiting decisions that they made in the past, things that they're unconsciously aware of. All right, now you can consciously work on all of these. The great thing about the inner game is it's mostly unconscious, but you can consciously notice it and work on it and change it, okay? So how do you think about private lending? A lot of people, they have some fear around it, or they're not comfortable with that. You know, they don't want to beg people to fund their deals. Well, right. I would suggest, if that's your attitude, don't ask others to fund your deals.
Right.
Instead, offer them an opportunity to get involved in your deals. Now, that's a subtle shift, isn't it?
Yep. Very. It's a very subtle shift, but a very powerful one when you make it.
And you need to make that. And it doesn't take any time to make that shift. You might have already made that shift based on everything that we've already talked about. You might have already made that shift. If you haven't made the shift now, you know, we're not done yet, but by the time we're done, perhaps you'll make that shift. Now, that's a little hypnotic language, by the way.
Right. Well, and you know what? One of my mentors told me once, and I think this is really true, that if you believe in what you're doing, then you have the moral obligation to share it with others. And I think that's the way you have to look at this. If you believe in what you're doing and the value that you're bringing to people, you're helping buyers and you're helping sellers and you're helping private lenders. And if you believe in that and you believe in the opportunities that are there enough to do them on an everyday basis, then you have the moral obligation to share that with other people.
Well, I put together that collection of private money resources for our Inner Circle members. They have access to it online. That if by going through those programs, that just kind of immersing yourself in all of this great information. Now, this information is not like a step-by-step course. What this stuff is things that happen one time. We have a live event. We have a What's Working Best panel. The topic is private money. We get successful students on a panel at a live event, and they tell their individual, special, unique stories and techniques and strategies and tips that you'll never hear anywhere else. Okay, unless you were at that event. Okay, so fortunately, a lot of our events we recorded. And then we pull out that segment and we would put it on a CD, okay? And we have a number of those very powerful, very wonderful, interesting, enjoyable, and very valuable presentations of real people doing real deals. And just when you listen to these different programs, you get all these different little things that you can apply. And it's just not all consolidated anywhere else. Now, if you hear the same type of thing over and over, then you know that that's a key best practice, we call it. So most of what we're talking about tonight are best practices, okay? But there's a lot of ins and outs that will give you a lot of confidence and a lot of effectiveness when you're exposed to it, you understand it, and you start applying that yourself. And of course, you can't use all this stuff in an instant. You got to, kind of start adding. In fact, this whole webinar, it's like you have to take 3 or 4 things max that you're actually going to put on your action item list and start doing. Okay, you can't do everything we're talking about. So it's like, what are the top 3 things you're going to start doing right away? And remember, have a goal and then make a plan. And we're going to put that, plan your work. We're going to get it into your schedule. So add some of these things into your schedule to start working on. So don't ask others to fund your deals. Offer an opportunity to get into your deals. And you'll hear that as a theme in some of our private money resources that everybody will have access to. I'll show everybody how they can access it tonight. Okay, you'll hear that over and over. Now, present your opportunity to a prospect, okay? And it's pass or play. This is not a sales job. Okay? Right. We're not beating somebody up. Right, Keith? What was the last arm that you twisted on getting a private lender to do a deal?
Yeah, I never held a gun to their head. So.
No, our job is to communicate the information so they can make a decision, okay? And if they have questions, get them answers. And if you need help, get help. If you need to go get the answer, say, let me check on that and then get back with you, okay? But once they have enough information to make a decision, it's like pass or play, right? And you're not tied to the outcome. Here's your goal. Your goal is to communicate the best you can the opportunity that you're offering and how it works and how they're protected. Okay, that's your goal. So you can achieve that goal whether they're in or out. Okay, so your goal is not tied to having them in or out. It's to do the best you can explaining the opportunity, and then they can decide if it's for them or not. And that's exactly what the SEC is concerned about, is people picking up the phone, calling someone they don't know, and talking them into investment that they don't understand.
Right. It's their decision to decide if it's for them or not. It's just your decision to present the opportunity to them.
That's right. In fact, one of the strategies that we've talked about in some of our programs is forget about, raising private money. Just go out, and let people ask, a number of people if they'd like to be involved, and your goal is to get 50 no's. So just don't worry about the outcome. Just your goal is to get 50 people to tell you, no, I'm not interested in that.
Right.
And if you work that game plan, you'll never get to 50 no's before you have millions and millions and millions in private money lined up for your next deal.
Very true. Very true.
All right. And then once you present your opportunity, you're going to close, and you're going to, basically it's like, do you want me to call you with details on my next deal? That's the close. Okay. And then the key is follow up, like we've been talking about. Notice follow up keeps coming up here.
Yeah. It's kind of a consistent theme through all of our webinars.
Remember what I said, if you hear it more than once, right?
Yep, that's right. That's right.
All right. Now, if you do not have money lined up, so how do you get more? Okay, here you go. How do you get? Here's a new topic. I guess I should number these. How do you get more all-cash deals closed? Okay, so obviously having some money. But if you do not have money lined up, then you may not generate leads. If you don't have money lined up, you may not answer the phone when you do have leads coming in.
Right.
You may not return calls or emails. Sound familiar to anybody? You may not crunch your numbers on the deal. You may not make offers to the sellers, and you may not buy great deals, and you may not make profits. So if you do not have money lined up, that you might not do these things. Like I said earlier, okay? So you can line up the money and go out to get the deals, and you can go out to get the deals and then line up the money. There's no chicken and egg here, okay? There's nothing that should prevent you from going out and putting the program together and working your program and start flapping your lips and let people know, hey, I'm working on some deals. When I close them, I use private investors and and go on from there. So there's nothing that prevents you from setting up your program now. Cash deals need money. You need money for the purchase price, repairs, buying, holding, and closing costs. And then by the way, when I do a cash deal, I run the numbers so I'm pulling out some extra cash in my pocket up front that I don't need for the deal. Okay, so if I can raise, if I can raise 70 cents on the dollar, I'm going to back out all my costs from 70 cents on the dollar. Then I'm going to back out another $5,000 to me, and that's the most I'm going to offer the seller. And then when you're offering all cash, then you start with less. Have a little cushion there. But we do a lot of cash deals. In fact, I had a cash deal. The lady I talked to today, in fact, now I remember, she loved our cash price. I don't have time to go into the details, but I made her terms offers, and someone had offered her, for reasons I won't get into, several people had offered her up to $80,000. We offered her 86. But I offered her like 172 if she took back a note. But she's 80 years old. So I said, but we're still going to show her. Well, here's the here's the 5-year plan with 42,000 down. You want 42,000 in this much higher price, or do you want 86 cash? I don't care which way you want to go. So, but cash deals, you need money. So. If you don't have the money, you can still go out and get cash deals accepted. You can always flip your contract to someone else who's going to buy a great deal, as long as it's a great deal. Okay.
Right.
So you need cash for deals if the contract is not flipped. Okay. Now, if you want to get more all-cash deals closed, you need to know your numbers, know your exit, know your profit target, and know your maximum allowable offer. Now, the ultimate profit generator that I've created to do structure offers on these kind of complicated free and clear deals, they're complicated from a number standpoint, but since the software does it all for you, it's very easy. Okay, it'd be hard to do it without it. Cash deals are a little simpler, but it generates those numbers as well. It tells you what's the maximum cash offer you can make on a property. If you want to get more all-cash deals accepted, so basically I'm saying you got to buy it right. and you got to make more offers, okay, with confidence, all right, because it is a numbers game. So if you know your exit, you know how much money you're going to make, you know the maximum allowable offer, you'll have more confidence, and you'll make more offers, and it is a numbers game.
Yes.
Not everybody's going to say yes. And then another way to get more deals is, hey, follow up. If you just follow up, you'll double your income.
Yep.
Now, on the same number of leads.
So spending less on marketing. That's right.
Without spending on marketing. Now, another way to close more of these deals is actually offer them more using the free and clear investing strategy. So there's a lot of investors out there that are targeting like rehab projects and houses they can buy cheap, all cash, and they have competition. But you could actually, and then a number of these sellers will not take the price that you need to get as a smart investor to buy it all cash. So They give up. They don't have any other exits. Well, I suggest you learn the free and clear investing strategy where you can offer more money, a lot more money, if they take a small down payment and carry a note. Or if they take a large down payment and carry a note. Or an all down payment, which is all cash. So when we do the free and clear investing strategy, we give them options. Here's small down and a large down. Here's a 15-year note. Here's a 9-year note. In fact, here's a 5-year note, okay? Or here's all cash. Which one you want to go, So we only give them, 3 or 4 offers at a time. But if they give us some feedback, we'll come back with 3 or 4 other offers. Like this lady today, she wanted our cash offer. So now, and we offered her 15 years and 9 years, small down, larger down. We're going to go back and show her 7 years and 5 years with small down and large down. Actually, larger downs, I guess. A large down and a larger down. So you get feedback, and you go back and you get the deal done. So this is now with all these investors out there making cash offers that get rejected, they just throw the lead away because the seller's not motivated enough, right? Mm-hmm. Well, you want to network with these cash buyers, and you can turn their trash into cash. You could say, well, tell you what, let me talk to them. Let me see what I can do, and if I do a deal, we'll do, I'll take care of you, and work up a deal where you can give them a piece of the action if you do the deal on their referral. They've given up on it. But now you can go back and offer more money with some terms. Okay. Make sense?
Yep, so, absolutely.
I mean, it's very easy to find other investors. Just go to your local real estate investor club, right? Mm-hmm. Now, we're going a little longer than I anticipated, so let me kind of burn through some of this, okay?
Okay.
In fact, let me, Okay, yeah. Strategies for protecting your private lenders. Okay, number 1, never touch their money until their note and security instrument is done. Okay, secure all loans with real estate. We're not talking about any unsecured financing here. So when we're talking about private lending, we're talking about secured notes.
Right, and you're really never touching their money. The title company it's going straight to the title company.
Well, it depends on how advanced you are. Because when I talked to my private lender last week, mm-hmm. he was already secured, so he sent me the money because I had the note modifications already created, right?
Right.
So, again, I had to secure his money with the note and security instrument before I touched the money.
Right.
So that's an advanced strategy. You can get to the point where you can prepare notes yourself, but it's better just to use an attorney, use a closing agent. If you're buying a property, you're going to be doing it through a closing agent, all right? If you own an existing property, there are several ways where you might tap into your equity on an existing property. But when you're buying, you're always going to close traditionally. And, yeah, the private lender's money is going to go directly to the closing agent. No, you're never going to touch the money until they're secured, okay? Now, another way to protect your investors is to leave a cushion of equity. Now, this is where you get to decide what's comfortable for you. Hard money lenders, they have their own program. They say, okay, I'm only going to go 65% loan to value, right? And I'm going to charge you these points. I'm going to charge you this interest, right? And they have their own program. Well, you decide your program. We don't offer points to private investors, and we tell them, what's the most we're willing to borrow on one of our properties. And so that's loan to value. So 20% cushion of equity is the absolute minimum. So it's 20% or more, but it probably should be 25 to 30% equity to protect. So there's a cushion of equity in case for some reason, something happened to you and they had to go after the property. There's a cushion of equity where they can get their money back. Okay, so they have some room, to get the house back, sell it, and get their money back. You're going to keep your promises. That's your commitment. But you got to leave that cushion of equity. So you don't want to over-leverage the property. We over-leverage properties with sellers, and the only reason we can do that is because we have a clause that allows us to move the note, a substitution of collateral. So that's the only, so that's kind of an advanced strategy. That's the free and clear model. With private investors, you're not going to over-leverage the property. You're going to leave that cushion of equity. In fact, that's part of your presentation. Good, how are you protected? You got this cushion of equity, okay? Insure against hazards. So we're going to add this. This is, again, part of your presentation. We're going to add you on the insurance policy as a mortgagee. So if there's something, happen with the property, your position is protected. And then the lender's title insurance policy. This is another thing as part of your program, what you decide. I offer my lenders title insurance when I'm buying a house. But if I'm tapping into existing equity on a property I already own, then it's optional. I don't offer it, and they usually don't ask. But if they ask, I'll just go ahead and do it. See, a lender's title insurance policy is cheap when you're getting an owner's policy. So a lot of people, when they buy property, there's an owner's policy being created, an owner's title insurance policy protecting the buyer. At the same time, they can also, from all the work they did on that, for a smaller amount, maybe $350 or something, they can do a lender's policy, and that's to protect the lender on the deal. So when I buy, I go ahead and do the lender's policy because I know it's only $350. But if I already own the property, it might be more expensive, and maybe I'll even ask my lender to pay for it if I don't really offer it. However, this is a kind of my policy. This is my program. Is I pay for all of the expenses for closing the deal. So I don't ask them to pay recording fees. If they're wiring the money out of their IRA and there's a wire fee, I pay that back. I give it to them. If they have any expenses, I cover it related to setting up the deal. Typically, what do you do, Courtney?
I pay for all the expenses, yes.
Yeah, if they give me 20 grand, they're going to have a 20 grand note and without any expenses. Keith, do you pay for all the expenses with your private investors?
Yeah, I mean, you want to keep them coming back, so I don't want to have them put out any more than possible because this is just a way of catering them to show you how serious you are about taking care of them as well.
Well, if someone gave me $20,000, what's 1 point on $20,000? That's $200, right?
Right.
If there was a legal way for me to pay referral fees, and I don't think there is, for getting private money, I would pay a point. If the lender asked me for a point, I hope they're not listening, I would give it to them, okay? Because it's worth it to me. I could pay a point to get the money. All right. So there's $200 I'm willing to pay for sure to do the deal. So and usually. The expenses are all worked. If you're buying a property, all those costs are worked into your deal structuring. We don't have any money in our deals. All of our deals are free when you use the ultimate profit generator on free and clear houses. The private money is free. All the costs are free because we don't pay for it. We have no money in the deal. In fact, we pull money out of the deal. I'll talk a little bit more about the cost of private money. So lenders, title insurance policy. Another way to protect your lenders is to get a lender's title insurance policy. So I just talked about that. For all purchase money loans, optional on refinances, like I just explained. Okay. So next is another way you can protect your private lender is This is a practice that we recommend all of our coaching clients follow, all of my JV partners follow. We actually plan for it, so it's very easy to follow. But we suggest that you set aside 15% of your property income to cover payments during vacancy. Some people have fear. How am I going to pay this note if it goes vacant? Well, if you in advance you plan to put 15% of that aside to cover vacancies and cover repairs and cover maintenance that you can expect. If you have a rental property or if you have a tenant buyer, if you own property, if you manage property, you're going to have vacancies, repairs, and maintenance. So a lot of times when it comes up, oh my God, I got to write this check. But if that money's already there, set aside, built up, ready to go, it's not a stress factor, okay? And that's how to sleep better at night and, make sure that you can keep your agreements. So we take this account when we do our deal structuring, and then do it. And then create an escrow account for the property. Now, it doesn't have to be a separate bank account. It's normally an accounting function in like your accounting program, like QuickBooks. And what you're doing is you're building a reserve account, and you're putting money in there and say, look, I got $3,000 in the reserve account for this property, and it came from my purchase deposit or the 15% income I'm building up. So you can actually jumpstart it with your buyer's down payment. So we buy with terms with the free and clear model, and we sell with terms. And when we put a buyer in there, we're going to get a non-refundable purchase deposit or a down payment, okay? And we can take some of that money and jumpstart the escrow account, okay? And then again, sleep better at night. And then, like you were saying, Courtney, close with a professional.
Right.
Escrow agent, title company, closing attorney, right?
Yep.
Right. Okay, another thing you can do to protect your investors is to buy right. Crunch all your numbers. Use the ultimate profit generator. It's the easiest way to do that, and it's a great way to lock in guaranteed profits. And know your exit. Know exactly what you're going to do, and you should have multiple exits. Sign personally when requested. Okay? Now, you need to be committed to your private investors. And if you're not committed, if you're not willing to sign personally and put everything you personally own at risk to protect this private investor, then why? So it's got to be such a good deal that you're not concerned about not keeping your agreements. And if you didn't, then you are actually going to sell whatever you got in order to take care of them. That's your attitude for private investors, is no matter what happens, you're going to pull out all stops to protect them. That will make you do good business. And it's an attitude, isn't it? It's part of that inner game. It's your habits,
Absolutely.
attitudes, beliefs, and expectations.
Yep.
But if you buy right, you'll stay out of trouble. So we can help you buy right. We can help you stay out of trouble. Okay. And then if you're following the best practices, private money is you don't have to worry at all about taking care of your private investors if you just follow the best practices. And that right now we're talking about protecting them. Now, an advanced strategy we really don't have time to talk about is, some people have talked about this, is you can get some type of term life insurance policy that would help pay off your debts in the event that what happens to you. Have you ever had someone say, well, what happens? What if you get hit by a bus?
Yeah, I love when they ask that. What happens if you die? I'm like, wow, that was insensitive.
All right. So we have a lot of scripts to answer those type of questions from sellers and investors. But if you wanted, as part of your program, you wanted to talk to your insurance agent, say, look, I want to set up a cheap policy that that would raise a bunch of money where it could help pay off my obligations. And so what would happen is we could pay off our private investors, or we could give them that option. But we could pay off all our debts, and then we would have our properties free and clear for our heirs. I mean, so we don't have a lot of time to talk about that. But any quick tips on that, Courtney? Because I know you're
No, I mean, I think it's a good practice to get into. I actually did my first one a few years ago, and now I really pretty much offer it to all of my private lenders just in the conversation. It's super cheap to buy term insurance like that, and it makes them feel a lot better, and then they know it's a safe investment. And really, from a business perspective, it's a good business decision for me to do that as well, because then I'm taking care of my family and my lenders.
Great. All right. ROOP, resources for getting more money, so more private money. So I put together this new collection of programs that we have done. It's called Get More Private Money Now collection. It's 17 audio CDs, 4 videos, 5 software tools, and 5 how-to reports. It's only $10,000, okay, and a percentage of your profits. Just kidding. All right. All right. So you can activate the download page instantly, and so I'm going to, at the end of the call, I'll show you what it looks like, because I'll show you all the titles. They're great titles. It's all the stuff that still might be lagging in your mind, plus stuff you'll never see anywhere else. Go to richardroop.com/M or PM Pack. So that's Private Money Pack. So it's PMPAK. PM Pack. PM Pack. Go there, and you'll see this collection of stuff. It's the download page, but it's deactivated. All you have to do is click on the link, pay the substantial fee, and it will unactivate for you. Now, all the Inner Circle members have they can go to their member site and get the password for free. So what I'm going to show you tonight, good news for all Inner Circle members, I put this up today for you, and you'll be able to access it tonight instantly with your Inner Circle membership or above. Inner Circle members pay $97 a month, get a lot of cool stuff each month and support and library, and then we have executive members and JV partner members. So Inner Circle member and above. And if you're not an Inner Circle member, you can sign up as an Inner Circle member, go to the catalog, click on memberships, sign up, $97 a month. Tremendous support for that. But if you don't want to be obligated to $97 a month, cancel anytime, you can just get this package by itself, and I'll show you what that is. So it has a retail value of, you'll see online, of over $400. Now this is what people paid for these programs. When these programs came out, this is what people paid for all of these programs together, is over $400. It's only $47 for a limited time only, until the price goes up. Once the price goes up, we're going to change it online. That offer is no longer valid.
Yeah, I say we do that tomorrow. That's $47 is super cheap.
so Courtney and Keith helped me brainstorm these things, and as well as the rest of the staff. But we try to figure out, why would we do this? Obviously, some type of loss leader. It's basically, we're hoping that you'll like it so much you might become a member someday or whatever if you're not a member, or you'll come to one of our future events, or maybe it'll get you into the joint venture partnership program. But to give you all of this value, and it's worth a lot more than $400, by the way.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Just that's what we offered it for when it came out. But you get it for $47, but that's a limited time. So if you're listening to this replay down the road, and you go online and the price is not $47, then whatever price is there is it. That $47's gone, okay? Now what's cool is you can load up your MP3 player, so whenever you have extra time, exercising, driving, you can just, fill your head up with Courtney, Keith, Mark, Roop, the Roop team. All right. And so it's richardroop.com. Go to PM Pack, richardroop.com/PM Pack. Then we also have done for you, and I'll show you what that looks like. We have done for you funding for great deals. So what we have here is some problems with that. Okay, so on our JV partnership program, you've probably heard about it. You probably wanted to get into it. We might have some of our partners listening tonight. Everything we do is around working with our joint venture partners and coaching clients. And then we also support everybody else. But a majority of our efforts are closing deals with our joint venture partners, because we have all these done-for-you services, done-for-you deal structuring, done-for-you seller presentations, done-for-you call handling, done-for-you website, and we have done-for-you funding, okay? So the cost of the funding that we raise for our joint venture partner deals is really free. And you can see that on some of our programs where I demonstrate that, basically we put all of our costs into the ultimate profit generator when we're structuring offers. And so if we have a cost of funding for private money, then that cost, any cost that we have, reduces the price we can offer the seller. But because we're getting very long-term, low-interest rate financing from the seller, that pushes the price up. And even with all of our costs, we can make very attractive offers. So the more cash we need to raise on the deal, that's more interest we have to pay on that cash to a private money partner. So it lowers the price for the seller. So a seller with a low money down can get a higher price than a larger money down. They still get a good price, but it's lower. So the costing on private money, when you do a deal, if you work it into your numbers, it's free. And when we do it with our deal structuring, the seller is actually paying for it, whatever the cost of the funds are. So if they want more money in the deal, if they want all cash, the price is coming down. They paid for it, right? We went from 175 to 86 cash, So the costing is free. The interest-only payments, they're paid by the occupant. Every property we get, unless we move into it, is paid for by the buyer, tenant, whoever, contract buyer. And so we already calculate that as well in our net cash flow. So that doesn't come from us. It comes from the property. And then the loan requested that you need for a deal. Once you have a deal, you go to the JV member site, right, Courtney? And you fill out that form on the support page. You say, got a deal, and then that will start the ball rolling, and we'll get a copy of the contract. We'll get the ball rolling on the lending, on the funding, and we'll help you every step of the way to get that closed. And our lending partners understand that we have a unique way of using private money for these free and clear deals. Because a free and clear deal, for example, is a small private money first and a large own and carry back second. So, how safe is it for a private money partner to lend at 20, 30, 40% loan to value? You got a $200,000 house and you have a $60,000 first. How protected are you?
Very.
That's what I like about the free. That's what I like about the free and clear model, is because there's a lot of protection for the private money. And if you are buying a house, if you get a cash offer accepted, as long as you ran the numbers good, the partner's going to be protected. You're not going to be borrowing more than that would put a private lender at risk. So you got to buy cheap enough. So now, if you're interested in the done-for-you funding, go to richardroop.com/JVKit, and that will get you on the notification list and get you all the details, and then we'll be happy to help answer any questions. And really the first thing you do after you go to richardroop.com/JVKit is send Dina at richardroop.com, send her your zip codes, because we have exclusive territories, and if your area is already taken, we'll have to relook at your zip codes and find some zip codes that are not taken. But we have exclusive territories. These are like little satellite offices for me. I don't want to be a long-distance landlord, so I'm helping all these investors buy houses all over the United States, and but they get to own the property, manage the property, make all the money, and I just get a little profit share. And once we close deals, all the money you spent getting set up in the program is all refunded back to you. So it's a great program. Check it out. You can become an expert at private money. But when we're working with our joint venture partners, we don't even tell them to go listen to all the private money stuff, because it's done for them.
We just do it for them.
We don't tell them to study all the marketing stuff, because it's done for them and with them, right? We don't tell them to study all the deal structuring webinars on using the ultimate profit generator, because we give it to them and then we do it with them. In fact, me and Keith, we're doing deal structuring all the time, every day, with our partners. And you can learn by doing. How do I fill out a contract? Well, let's get a deal accepted, and I'll show you how. So.
Well, and I think that's the power of the program is that, most people spend years trying to learn this and then starting to get into it little by little, where here we just tell you, look, you're going to jump right in. You're going to work with us. You're going to work side by side with us. We're going to get you deals done while you're learning. We'll do it for you until you feel comfortable. And I think that's what makes it so great.
And our intention is not to make you dependent on us.
Right.
So we want you to have, our goal is to close 4 deals together as quickly as possible. And then after that, you can continue to do that, partner with us or not. But we want you to be able to do it on your own. And so all this stuff about private money, even if you had the done for you private money, once you've got everything working and you're handling your leads well, because we get you all the leads you need, and then make sure that you're handling those well, and we want to work on your closing ratio, make sure that you're closing a certain number of deals at a certain number of leads. Then you also want to be working almost side by side. You want to start working on your private lender program, because if you have even more money besides the money we provide, you'll have more opportunities. You can maybe get cheaper rates, right, and make better offers or make higher profits. So all investors need to work on their private lender program, whether they're in the JV program or not, okay? It's a good use of your time, and it's not that complicated, and we can help you every step of the way. Now, the free bonus that we offered, your free bonus is at richardroop.com/moneybonus. So this is the free audio program that Courtney donated, basically, boosting your confidence with private money. And you're going to hear her on a call. And on that call, quickly, Courtney, I got these bullet points. Tell me basically what these mean.
Yeah, it's really, I went through a period years ago where I had a serious money blank in my head. I could not talk to people about private money. I was nervous. I was doing all the things we just told you not to do. I did all of those at one time. And I came to a halt in my business where I was not able to buy any more properties. I was buying 4 to 6 a month, and all of a sudden one day I could not fulfill a contract because the cash was gone. And I became basically extremely motivated, and hitting that rock bottom, if you will, changed my life around in the sense that I took a hard look at the things that I wasn't doing and why I wasn't doing them, and I made an immediate, and I'm talking an immediate 2-hour shift in my mindset and in my action plan. And I share that with you on this call. It's about a 70-minute call that I did with some coaching clients and explained to them exactly what I did step by step to go from 0 private money to a couple $1 million in less than 7 months.
Well, I'm sold. So here's a list of kind of bullet points. Actually, if you go to richardroop.com/moneybonus, these bullet points are on there as well. And, of course, it's free, so just fill out the form and get it. Now, I do have a question, Courtney. How to separate yourself from your competition? What is the 27-17? What is it?
From your competition? How to separate yourself from your competition? No, it wasn't. The 27:17 is where you'll find it in the audio. So at 27 minutes and 17 seconds, you'll hear my secret for how to separate yourself from the competition and stand out as a credible investment.
Okay. I had no clue what that was. All right, now I know.
I thought it was a Bible verse or something.
I was going to say, did you think it was a Bible verse or something?
All right, cool. Thank you. All right. So we'll go ahead and take some questions. Now, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in and submit them. Now, have we had any questions submitted?
Not really around private money. A lot of kudos, thanking us for inviting guests to the call, thanking us for opening this up, a couple of things about people questioning the JV partnership program and how to get involved. The only question I did hear, it's not even really around private money, it's around financing, and so I kind of just directed him to talk to Dina. So really nothing about private money, just everything saying really that we covered everything in full and thanking us so much for all of the great content.
Okay, well, Well, awesome, awesome. Well, we did cover a lot of ground, and of course, we could spend a week, very effective 2 or 3 days. We could spend a whole week hanging out talking about cool stuff like this. So I'm actually going to probably give you a week worth of stuff on this audio collection. So if you go to that richardroop.com/PMPAK, PMPAK, it's actually going to take you to the page I'm going to show you. You can also go to the member site, and it says Get More Private Money Now. And it says click here for the special collection of resources, Raising Private Money, for $47. Okay, and it says for active Inner Circle members, click here for free password. So if you log in as a Inner Circle member or above, you'll be able to get that password and just tap into this. So let me go ahead and click here.
Well, then everybody's going to see the password. Oh, okay.
No, they have to be logged in as an Inner Circle member.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
So, hey, just so everybody knows, I put all the links in the chat box on the right-hand side. So if you missed any of those links to get your money bonus, to get the PM pack, or to even email Dina to check on your zip codes, I put all of those in the chat box on the right-hand side.
Okay, great. And by the way, if you have any questions like that, feel free to call Dina or email Dina, D-E-E-N-A @richardroop.com. She'll be happy to get you any links or questions or whatever. She's our program advisor. Now, this is richardroop.com/PMPAK. So here's what's in the program for $47. I must be crazy. But.
You are crazy.
Okay, so here are actually what people paid for the programs when they came out, and you add that up, it's over $400 for $47. And so we have an audio, great strategies for raising private money to fund deals, and all these audios are like an audio CD. They're about, up to 75 minutes long, okay? So between 45 and 75 minutes long each. And it's good stuff, nothing boring, great stuff, great strategies. Okay, then we also have audio on how to create your private lender opportunity, like we talked about. That's very helpful. And then raising private cash in tough markets, 2 audios. Building trust, rapport, and relationships with prospects. And we talk about both sellers and private lenders. That's 1 audio. Insider secrets of private money. This was a great follow-up call that I did with the coaches after a 3-day private money boot camp. And we just, what's the best stuff that we covered at the boot camp? We got it in these 2 audios. Avoiding prohibited transactions, marketing for private investors. A lot of people want to avoid any problems with like the SEC or Securities Division. That's 1 audio.
And that audio is with an SEC attorney, if I recall correctly.
I probably.
I think it is.
With Roland. I'm not sure. I didn't review it when I put it up here.
Yep.
Raising private money, what's working best now, 2 audios. Now, this is a webinar, guaranteed 35% return on cash for real estate investors. There's 2 audios. There's a how-to document. So we got your CDs, we got your documents, we got your Excel spreadsheets, and we got video. So this is a how-to document on that webinar, plus an Excel spreadsheet tool, plus you can watch the webinar online. So you can listen to it with the tools, or you can watch the webinar. Then we have marketing for funding private money. We did this last year. This is great, up-to-date stuff, and this is really good. We got part 1, 2, and 3. The big picture, creating mailing lists, and marketing and follow-up tools for raising private money. And we have 3 audios, we got 3 sets of slides, and we got 3 videos, okay? Then we have how to get no qualifying real estate investor loans. We have a video, but it's kind of corrupted, and we're trying to fix that. But we do have 2 audios and the slides, so you can go through that program. And that's a really good program. And then we have some bonuses. We got 5 Excel spreadsheets, included my newest spreadsheet for creating note payment schedules. So we have different spreadsheets for different types of notes, but then I have one that kind of does it all, okay? And I'll probably have to do a webinar on that. And in fact, I did demonstrate it last month somehow. Bonus number 2 is some 5 how-to reports on how to build your credibility kit, how to build your private money program. That's really good, step by step. How to write your 60-second elevator speech, 7 ways to raise cash for real estate deals without banks, and how to find private money.
Hey,
so,
Richard,
yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm getting several responses that the link is not working. Now, it's working for me, so I wonder if you can maybe go into it again and just make sure that everything's working, because I've gotten like 3 or 4 people responding saying that it's not working.
Which link?
The PM pack.
Well, I'm there right now.
Yeah, I'm there too, and it's working fine for me, but I've gotten several responses saying that it's not working.
Okay, if you go to the member site, you can click right here on the title, or you can click right here. That will take you to PM Pack. Let me try. Click on here. Let's see. Oh, maybe we got too many people doing it. It looks like we have some traffic. Okay. So if it's not working, just try it in a few minutes. We got a bunch of people trying to access it. So it's working. PM Pack. Okay, richardroop.com PM Pack.
Yeah, several people just responded that it's working for them. So it is working, everybody. It's richardroop.com/PMPAK. PM Private Money PM Pack. And I just posted it on the chat box again.
Right. Okay, so what happens is when you go here, you'll see all these links over here that are not turned on. So you can click, it says, the links are disabled, so it says click here to unlock all, okay, for $47. And then this is actually also where you'll get the replay of tonight's webinar. We will, you can just go to this page and click on replay page, and that's where we'll have the replay. It'll be up in a couple days. For tonight's webinar. So keep this link handy. And now if you click here, click to unlock all, it's an order form, recaps it, and you fill out the order form, $47. We email you the password, and you can access it tonight. So there you go.
Excellent. I think that's a screaming deal for $47. That's easily a $997 package, I might say.
Oh, well, again, it's just for a limited time. It's kind of a test. It was, we talked about, testing something like this. So if we go to Money Bonus, richardroop.com/moneybonus, then you can go ahead and get your free audio for
Excellent.
tonight. All right. So, well, great call, Keith. Now, we haven't, we went long, so, I wasn't pulling you guys in as much as I would normally do. But you have a lot of, experience with private money. You and Courtney, have done programs, on your own without me. You guys are experts for richardroop.com. And Keith, is there any final words, final tips, anything that kind of is lagging for you that you'd like to share with folks before we kind of wrap things up?
Well, I think that the biggest thing that I think would benefit most people is still about the inner game, because most people still, that's their biggest hang-up of what I found over the years, is that mindset. And it's not about asking people for money. It's about presenting an opportunity for them to make money. If you can just get that little subtle mind shift in there, that you're presenting an opportunity to people rather than asking them for money, you're going to be very successful in raising a lot of private money.
Yep.
Very, very good. Yes, and that's another reason why I kind of organized all the private money resources for the Inner Circle members into one spot like that, and kind of organized it, because if they just concentrate on going through the resources they already got, okay, because some of this stuff was already in their library, and if you immerse yourself in some of these cool audio programs and tools on private money, that's going to build your confidence, boost your inner game, and you're going to hear more inner game concepts on those programs, as well as strategies, techniques, and tactics, and all of that. Okay. Courtney, any final tips, words for the audience?
No, I think we've covered a lot of great information. I think the most important thing to remember is that the mindset has to change first. And like Richard said earlier, you can't change everything at once. So pick 1, 2, maybe on the outsides, 3 action items from tonight's webinar that you want to put into place, and do them tomorrow. Take action immediately. And that's the best thing that you can do for your business.
Great. And then, you know, it is a kind of an overwhelming package of private money stuff, and you know, whether you spent, you know, $400 or $47, you still have to kind of get through it and use it. And again, you'll enjoy it. All right. So, you know, time block it into your schedule. Load up your MP3 player, your iPhone, whatever, and take advantage of that. And let that work on your inner game. And let that give you the knowledge behind some of the best practices. And you know, we have so many success stories that people, they just follow the steps that we lay out, and we get great reports back. In fact, well, let me go back to that private money page. Down at the bottom of that preview, it actually says some of the things that, like on raising private cash in tough markets. This is a What's Working Best Now student panel at a live event, and we heard how Gary from California found and bought 7 properties from wholesalers and property managers, 5 of which were free and clear. How Eve from California is having success with the ultimate strategy, raising cash on higher priced properties for sale by owner. How Steve in California gets private lender leads on real estate at real estate investor meetings and trustee sales. How Mike in California overcame his fear and picked up $4 million in private money in just a couple weeks by overcoming his fear. So there's a lot to do with the inner game.
Absolutely.
Just subtle shifts, but we cover the gambit. We cover the gambit. The content, the detail, as well as the inner game. So I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. And if like I said, we will have a replay of this up for you, so you can review it. Take a couple things from your notes tonight, put it into action. Re-listen to this. Put a couple things into action, and then as you go through all of those different programs, just take them one by one, and then just pick 2 or 3 things you're going to pull out of it and put it into action. And step by step, you know, you're going to build a very powerful funding platform for your real estate business. So we are here to support you. Let us know how we can support you. You can send me feedback at richardroop.com. You can ask questions with our program advisor, senior program advisor Dina, with Dina at richardroop.com. And of course, you know, just let us know what we can do to support you. As always, thanks guys for joining me. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Have a
good night,
great
everyone.
week.
Good night.
We'll talk to you soon.
Good night.